Okay, we're on. We're doing it. Let me double check my technical details here. I think my mic audio is fine. Music audio can probably come down a little bit. Going with video game music as usual for the background. Hopefully we won't get a copyright claim. Bit of a gamble these days. Anyway, welcome. Welcome to today's stream. Sort of the central topic of which is very important. We're going to try to look at the different seasons of SpongeBob and work out the details there. I want to figure out which one is the best. Well, no, that's not really it. That's too difficult. But figuring out which one is the most important to like the show's legacy over just overall popularity, you know. Most important for being immortalized in a million different memes. I feel like we can do some work on that front. Otherwise, we're just here to chat. We're just here to hang out and have a nice time. Thursday evening, back to the usual schedule. And yeah, it's been interesting lately. But before we get into all the junk, let's just enjoy our time here. Welcome everyone in. Purple's here. Hello, Purple. Hello, right back. Great to see you once again. Thanks for coming by. And right away, Purple has a very cogent point to the discussion. Purple says, "I think the most important season has to be any season between 1 and 3." Boy, oh boy, you're you're approaching probably one of the most important points here. A lot of P sounds, a lot of plosives. I should get one of those pop filters, shouldn't I? But generally, this is something that I only found out recently because as a kid watching SpongeBob, I didn't understand like the concept of seasons. You know, I didn't realize that there was a schedule for when new episodes would come out, and a production schedule behind the show, of course. So as far as I knew, new episodes just came out whenever they came out. There would be a few commercials beforehand saying, hey, it's going to be the best thing ever. Watch the new episode this Friday, or whatever day it was. And so, you know, I remember watching not a handful, but like a relatively small number of episodes over and over and over again on repeat when the show was brand new and for a few years after that. And long story short, getting back to Purple's point here, is that it turned out that the vast majority of the episodes that I knew so well and that I'd basically memorized from seeing a million different times were all from seasons 1, 2, and 3. And that's another thing we can take a look at here if we feel like it is the timing of these seasons and when they were released. Here's a little chart. It's as with plenty of like children's cartoons or stuff that was airing on Nickelodeon or even Cartoon Network today. A season is not necessarily like a calendar year, right? As it would be with a big giant drama series or something where a season of the show plays out from fall into spring of the next year, and then it'll be the next fall that they pick up from there. Of course, that schedule is also dying off because of streaming shows, and they just release stuff whenever they want. But I wanted to bring that up because I figured, if it's year by year, I must have seen the first 5 seasons of SpongeBob a whole bunch, and I know them really well. That's not the case at all. And in fact, when I've been rewatching a lot of SpongeBob lately, which is part of why the topic came up at all, I know virtually no episodes at all from season 4 onward, which is crazy to me, because it felt like I knew them all. It felt like I'd been watching the show for so long, and it turns out it was basically the first 3 seasons. And this is something else I've learned, is that apparently among the fan base, there's a pretty big distinction of like pre-movie SpongeBob and post-movie SpongeBob, which I totally understand. I think that's probably a good way to break it down in terms of like the feel of the show. And also its like popularity among the general public, right? Because those first few seasons were it was so popular. There was so much SpongeBob merch. There were so many television specials. Obviously, the hype behind the movie was massive. Wild stuff. And then after that, I can't speak to it. I haven't watched all these seasons. I can't speak to the quality, you know. And Purple says seasons 1, 2, and 3 have a nostalgic factor to them. Well, definitely, yeah. And something else that kind of caught my attention as I've been rewatching a lot of those episodes from mostly season 2 and 3, but it applies to season 1 stuff as well, is that it looks so different. The show really does just remind you of the analog days of animation, back when it was physical, you know, cells and slides, as opposed to just all digital flash animation. It would have been around that time. So they look old. They look visibly old, and not ugly necessarily, but they definitely have a different feel. I get a similar sense from the first 2 or 3 seasons, I guess, of The Simpsons, even though it was, 10 years earlier, where you can tell it's analog. It's physical objects you're seeing as opposed to digital illustrations. And yeah, I think that's a big contributor to the nostalgic feeling for those early SpongeBob episodes. They just look very different. They look noticeably different. But yeah, I'll start going through some of the episodes and stuff. But anyway, how's everybody doing? Are we enjoying the Sonic music that we have here in the background? Has it been an okay week for everybody? Are you staying warm? It is actually relatively cold where I am right now. For California, so not too cold, but getting some more rain, which I really enjoy. Kind of chilly, but I know it's much worse pretty much everywhere else. So I just have to accept that I have it pretty easy over here. Purple says, I think instead of pre-movie and after-movie, they should use the animation style. Okay, like old, semi-old. I like semi-old as a phrase. And brand new. I could see that too. Yeah, I mean, you could easily turn it into like, okay, here are the digital years of SpongeBob. Here are the analog days. And go about it that way. But yeah, totally valid. I just, like I said, it was just recently that I came across sort of some of the arguments within the fan base, which I had been completely unfamiliar with up to that point. But Purple says, good week for me. How was your week? I'm glad to hear it. I'm very glad to hear it's been a good week so far. Almost there, almost done with it. I'm very excited about that part, being done with it. Yeah, it hasn't been a great week, but that's just job stuff. That's just regular job stuff. So nothing all that crazy. But yeah, you know, there's stress related stuff going on there. It's too bad. But yeah, almost done. I don't think I made any plans for the weekend, which is kind of good news this time around, because I think I would just like to sit at home and play video games for a while. In fact, later on, I might be playing one of the hot new video games that I've been checking out recently. That's been a lot of fun. I don't like the Sonic stuff. This sounds like Christmas music. I don't need Christmas music. See, this is tricky. Sometimes video game music gets too excited. What does this one sound like? Gene Gadget Zone. That's not bad. Sort of dated techno stuff going on. Anyway, Purple says, I hope your week is better. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you to say. Thankfully, I've still had plenty of time to watch cartoons. Been watching lots of SpongeBob lately. Lots of Adventure Time lately for sure, which led into the most recent video talking about my favorite episode. And I would like to do a thing about my favorite episode of SpongeBob 2, but I don't know. I almost feel like that's too that decision is too difficult or something. Even still, just referring to the first 3 seasons, probably 3 or 4. There's so much. Oh my gosh, there's so many episodes. and there's so many classics in there. And I also just keep thinking of the fact that I already did a video a long time ago about 2 of my favorite episodes of SpongeBob. Purple, I think, you must have been around for Purple, because you've been around here for a long time. But yeah, it was the video I did about, it was basically Band Geeks versus the Krusty Krab training video. And I mean, I don't think it would be too surprising if I said that those are 2 of my favorite episodes. I mean, they're really popular episodes, and for good reason. But yeah, that was, I don't even remember when that was. Not 2020. I'm going to say it was in 2021, so it just feels like a very, very long time ago. But we'll see. So I'd like to do one on SpongeBob. I would like to do one of those videos about a favorite episode for Over the Garden Wall as well. Simpsons would be another tough one. South Park would be another tough one. I was a big fan of South Park for a long time. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. I was watching every new episode of South Park. I was completely caught up, from season 1. And I don't know if I've ever talked about South Park on the channel at all. And the craziest thing there is I think the quality's still pretty high. I've seen some of the really recent episodes of South Park. And they're still pretty great. It's sort of shocking how they've been able to keep that up for literally 20 plus years at this point, something like that. Were you ever a South Park person, Purple? Did you ever get into that one? Or was it one of those things where you saw a couple clips and you were like, no, that's not really for me? Because I think that's how I started out. Through like high school and stuff. I don't know. I just had a blanket impression of South Park and just like, oh, it's gross. It's like gross out comedy, a lot of violence and gore and stuff. And I wasn't against that, but I don't know. It didn't seem like it would be a good fit. So it was only later on that I really dove in and like, oh, this is actually really funny and well executed and smartly written. So it took a while for that transition to sort of come about. Purple says, my favorite episode is when SpongeBob is in the ocean floor, can't catch the bus. Rock Bottom. Oh my gosh. Rock Bottom is something else. I'm sure a bunch of people have made videos and stuff on Rock Bottom too, because it's such a memorable episode. I would say it's a fun episode, but not really. It's kind of a horror episode, in my opinion. Especially as a kid, just the idea of being completely trapped somewhere and you have no way to get out, that could make you go insane. Like, that's just a horrible scenario to find yourself in. But yeah, that's great. And in fact, I think I was mentioning that episode in the Adventure Time video as well. Some detail reminded me of that one. Purple says nope, I think, for getting into South Park stuff. I've seen an episode or two. Yeah, and there is a range of quality. I personally don't think the early years are all that good. I think it's fine. But when they really found their flow, maybe like season 5 or 6 on, that's when I got hooked. And certainly into season 10 and 11, I was watching every single new one that came out. So that was a big one for me. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say random thoughts about just our episode list of SpongeBob here, and just to confirm, because if other people have watched every single season of SpongeBob, then you're the experts here, and you can tell me your thoughts on the later seasons. But I'm just going to confirm that I don't recognize like anything from season 4 onward. Crabs vs. Plankton sounds sort of familiar. Skull Crane, no. Selling Out, maybe. Dunces and already. Yeah, a lot of these I don't think I've seen at all. So there you have it. That's basically my cutoff point then, is season 4 premiering in 2005. And I mean, fair enough. I guess I was getting into like around middle school by that point. So there you have it. I wasn't watching cartoons quite as much. At least not SpongeBob. Yeah, but I honestly don't think I have seen any of these. How about you, Purple? I know we've already talked about the nostalgia quality of 1, 2, and 3, but did you keep up with it? Have you continued to watch the show and see new episodes? Because I just don't. I'm sorry, I don't. I really don't recognize anything. So I'm stuck, just sort of choosing between 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, let's see. For some reason, I always thought the bubble stand was the very first episode. I just got that idea into my head at some point. But no, it's part of the second episode. Help Wanted. Reef Blower, not one of my favorites, but I do have strong memories there. Tea at the Tree Dome, obviously. Very, very famous. There's so much good stuff, even in season 1. But they just, I do get thrown off a little bit by the look. And also, and this happens with plenty of TV shows in different categories and genres, but it does take a while for the characters to sort of not get fleshed out, but sort of settle into how we remember them, if that makes sense. An example, I guess, would be like Star Trek TNG. Season 1, the characters don't feel like they're quite well-defined yet, or their personalities aren't completely nailed down. They have different writers coming in, working on the show. There's a bit of variation in the characters. Later on, they become very much themselves and a very strong personality. Same thing with Community, same thing with Parks and Rec, same thing with The Office, and plenty of other stuff. And I do kind of feel like that's the case. Not for SpongeBob himself as a character, but some of the world building of Bikini Bottom, for one thing. And just like what SpongeBob even does with his time, because from the start we just know that he works and he's good at fry cooking for some reason, and he just does goofy stuff with Patrick. But I don't know, it seemed very thin to me early on. But then it really expands. We get the jellyfishing storylines. We understand that as yet another hobby and yet another area of Bikini Bottom, I guess. More dynamics in the workplace. The Krusty Krab becomes a staple of the show. And then they do the weird, insane stuff like SB-129, which is, a very well-known episode that, again, kind of falls into the horror category. Just weird, almost, what is it? Is it a time travel plot or alternate dimension? But either way, you get a sci-fi environment and crazy story premise. Rock Bottom, of course, again. So generally very positive feelings about season 1. However, I don't think it's the densest concentration of just really classic episodes that I really like to go back to time and again. So I'll just say that for now. Purple says new seasons are sort of bad. Okay. Fair enough. And also, I can remember one episode from season 4, maybe 5 at least. Okay, so basically just one episode. Wow. My goodness. The superheroes part of the show? What? Did they introduce a... Not Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, right? Are you saying they introduced some other kind of superhero character? Is that what you're saying? The music has strayed from the vibe once again. I'm not quite getting it. I could always go to the stuff that I have saved on the computer, but I just figured I'd try this one out. No. I'll just pause this and get some of my Animal Crossing music. Okay, video elements. Yeah, those guys. I do really like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. Especially with, isn't it Ernest Borgnine who voices Mermaid Man? And was it Burt Ward who voiced Barnacle Boy? Sorry, just trying to remember. But either way, I mean, they're both, very well-known actors. And of course, Burt Ward being involved in the original Batman TV series. That is his name, right? I hope I'm not getting that wrong. Okay. Let's get some of the music going. Nice, easy-going music. Here we go. Okay. We don't need that on this screen. We'll put it over here. Is this really loud for you guys? I hope not. Okay. Okay, cool. I think we're okay. Sorry, let me know if something's wrong with the stream, but it should be okay. Yeah, those guys, I like their episodes of SpongeBob. Yeah, they have some great episodes, and they're from pretty early on. Well, here's Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy 2 at the end of season 1. So there you go. But yeah, they develop that whole, I don't know, those characters and the weird lore, the fact that they're actual superheroes. It's not that they just like played superheroes on TV. Squidville, is this season 2? Yeah, Squidville is absolutely in the top tier. My gosh, what a fantastic episode, and one that continues to age very gracefully, I think. Bubble Buddy, it's another one. Imitation Crabs. Wormy's fine. I was never crazy about that. Grandma's Kisses, another big famous one. Pre-hibernation week I just saw the other day, and it's still fantastic. So yeah, really, my gosh, is it starting to ramp up in season 2, where we just get, and Band Geeks, I mean, that alone, oh boy. So season 2 has some incredibly heavy hitters. Will it sort of be a taper off as we get to season 3, or does it stay strong? Let me check. I'm also glancing at the viewership numbers here. That would be kind of interesting to look at it on its own. But anyway, where are we? That's season 2, season 3. Purple says, oh, message retracted. My gosh. Okay. Ooh, Fry Cook Games is another favorite. Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, what else? Sponge Guard on Duty, I do not like. My Pretty Seahorse is fine. The Bully, that one was kind of, I don't know, annoying to see on rewatch. Purple says the best episodes are when the random adventure episodes where they're doing random stuff. Okay, so would you put in that category like, what was the one I saw the other day? It's not ARG, because ARG is the one with the treasure hunting board game that Mr. Krabs is too into. But what's the other one where they accidentally wind up on the Flying Dutchman ship and they have to become his crew because of like an arcane law or something? That I would consider that like a random adventure episode, right? Didn't finish typing by accidentally sent it, so I took it. Don't worry about it. I wasn't worried about sending anything too spicy there. Anyway, whatever that episode, I think it's called Shanghai. Shanghai is a random adventure episode in my mind for sure. Quick Gaming, welcome to the chat. Thanks for stopping by. It says seasons 1 through 5. I'm on board. We were saying earlier that like seasons 1 through 3 are definitely some of the most heavily memed, you know, and get mentioned and brought up again and again. Lots of gifs from those. But please tell me more about seasons 4 and 5, because apparently those are ones that I've barely seen any episodes. So if there are like standout episodes in those seasons, please let me know, and I can kind of single those out and also just watch them later today. I have a note here. I have a notepad ready to go if there are any suggestions. Anyway. And Weeb says, sorry I'm late, but I say seasons 2 through 6. Ooh, okay, we're getting some variety now. First of all, welcome back. Thanks for coming by the stream. I appreciate it. Seasons 2 through 6. Okay, so you're just cutting off season 1 completely. I'm interested to hear your reasons why. I was starting to turn a little bit on season 1 earlier just because... I don't know. It doesn't feel like it completely found its footing, even though at the same time there's some really fantastic episodes in season 1. So I'm split on that one. But yeah, if you've got a case to make, this is the time and place to do it. And then what is this, 6? This is 6, right? No, it's 5. Okay, so where does season 6 end? Also, when was the movie released with regards to the seasons here? Slide Whistle Stooges, Life in a Day. Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything from season 6. Okay, Boating Buddies, Krabby Chronicle. Yeah, I don't think. Hold on, I can do my research window over here. Okay. SpongeBob movie, not the new one. 2004. Okay. So that would be what, within season 3, maybe? I should really just give my mouse a break here. Okay. Okay. End of season 3 going into season 4, it looks like. Okay. Fair enough. So that's I could definitely see that as being a big split, you know. It's kind of a high point. Although, I don't know. I almost have some mixed feelings about the SpongeBob movie itself. Maybe that's sacrilege. I do still really, really like it. I like the movie a lot. But... but I always think back to right when I got home from seeing it or getting out of the theater, because I was however old at the time, you know, a young person. Thank you, motorcycle. And I remember, I think I went along with a friend and like their parents drove us or something. And we got out of the movie. And my friend's, I guess it was my friend's dad. And he was like, okay, so, you know, was it any good? And we said, oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was great. And then he said, did it just feel like a long episode of the show? Like, did it have the same feel as the show, but just, you know, you happen to be watching it in a movie theater? And that, like, that question continues to haunt me whenever I think of any, like, you know, any animated show in particular that gets the big movie adaptation. Back in the day, it was Rugrats and Jimmy Neutron, Wild Thornberrys, you know. And it's something I continue to think about with those kinds of adaptations. And there are some ways in which the SpongeBob movie kind of feels like that to me. Kind of just feels like a long episode. And doesn't necessarily live up to being a big movie, except for some of the visuals. I think some of the visuals are great. The David Hasselhoff bit is funny and weird. So I still love it. But anyway, I've started to see it slightly differently since then. Okay, here we go. Weeb says, I like season 1, but with shows like SpongeBob, South Park, Family Guy, and American Dad, at least, in my opinion, they don't feel like the show, if you get me, because I think it takes a season or two for a show to get good. Jimmy Neutron movie came out before the show, though. Oh, so it was the reverse. Well, then I completely misremembered it, although it does make sense. And it also goes back to the point you were just making there, Weeb, which is that it does take time to find footing. And this is something I was saying just a little bit earlier in the stream, actually, is that, yeah, I totally agree with that. I would say roughly 1 to 2 seasons usually. I was listing off comedy shows earlier, but it probably applies to plenty of dramas too, plenty of animated stuff. It takes a while to kind of warm up, you know, get into the groove and all that. And yeah, I would agree with that to a certain extent with season 1 of SpongeBob. Not the whole way through. There are some classics in there. But I don't know. Yeah, some of it, and also the look, we were talking about that earlier too, is that season 1 of SpongeBob looks old. Like it really does look different than the later seasons. Suds, oh, I hated Suds. Squidward and Friendly Ghost. Fun, yeah, I mean, Fun is kind of a classic. Yeah, Jellyfish Jam, questionable, but still a good time. Sorry, I have to catch up here. Quick Game, he says, season 1 was a great start and awesome stuff, but there were some episodes I don't like. Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, I Was a Teenage Gary, and Hooky. It's, wow, Hooky, you kind of nailed. I didn't like Hooky growing up. I guess it just seemed like, for one thing, it was kind of scary. This was just a silly cartoon show, but it's like, oh, they're in real danger all of a sudden. It was also just kind of weird, like the threat was so odd, and it sort of diminished the characters in a way that they're just like, you know, tiny little sea creatures, and not sentient beings as they are on the show most of the time. I don't know how to describe it, but I did also have some negative feelings towards Hooky growing up. I hated suds. Pickles I like just fine. Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost I don't actually remember all that well. But or Karate Choppers. Yeah, some of the really, really basic storylines, I don't know. Wasn't a big fan of at the time, and I don't think I'm much of a fan of those now either. But anyway, Arg is great. Rock Bottom is great. Yeah. As Purple says, I've seen a newer season episode, and I didn't hate it. The episode was in all black and white. SpongeBob was a detective, and they even had a scene with them in a boatmobile. Oh, okay. So sort of a noir parody thing going on there, I guess. That's fun, and it also reminds me of that Adventure Time episode. Is it called BMO Noir, where BMO has to conduct he has to solve the mystery of what Finn's missing sock, I think it was, and he interrogates Lorraine the chicken. That's a good episode too. Anyway, but yeah, I don't think I've seen that one. Like you said, it's from one of the newer seasons, but yeah, I just haven't caught most of those. Weeb says, "Oh yeah, season 1 of SpongeBob and South Park have amazing episodes. If for curious, seasons 2, if I'm curious, I think seasons 2 and 4 through 11 are my favorite South Park seasons. I don't like season 3. Whoa, wait, what happened in season 3? Off the top of my head, I don't know the early seasons well enough to think of which episodes came when. But 4 through 11, I guess I would agree with that. Yeah, I was saying earlier, like, I don't know, season 5 or 6 is when it really, really started to pick up for me. There's the episode where Butters' mom tries to murder him by sending him away in a car down the river. That's a great episode. I think that's pretty early on. But yeah, definitely by season 10 and 11, there's some really good ones in there too. We could have a whole day just talking about South Park, and I probably will do a video soon of my favorite episode of that one. But yeah, and when is it? What's the famous Stan episode? It has the Fleetwood Mac song, "Thank You Helicopter." You're Getting Older. I think it's called You're Getting Older, and I think that was season 10 or 11, and that's definitely one that turned me on to the show. So pretty late. But that really got my attention, and it made me sort of rethink what the show was. Anyway. Oh, there's more. Weeb has some more. During season 3, they were working on the movie as well. So season 3 feels dry compared to the movie. Fair enough. Okay. I didn't understand that timing, but that makes sense. Yeah, the movie was, 2000, 2001, I want to say, but I'm not actually sure. But totally fair. I'd have to go look at the episodes again. Quick Gaming says season 2 is also good, but the bad episodes were slightly worse. Ooh, I'm with Stupid. Dumped. Grandma's Kisses were terrible. Dumped I don't like. In fact, I just skipped that one the other day because I was like, yeah, I remember this. It's another very simple premise, and you're just kind of waiting for it to be over. Grandma's Kisses I know a lot of people like. I haven't rewatched it in a long time, so I can't really weigh in on that. I'm with Stupid is like sad. I remember it being sad. Ugo says, how long have you been live? Since about 6 o'clock. Hopefully there have been no technical issues getting in the way, but it says that I'm good to go. It says that I'm still live, so that's good news. Anyway, Dan Povenmire was the best about SpongeBob. Were we just talking about him? Oh, that was all. I just saw his name coming up in the credits because did he write for them or was he producing? Both, I guess. He was a writer on SpongeBob. Phineas and Ferb. That's why we were talking about him somewhat recently. Gotcha. Do you know specific episodes that he wrote for the show? I don't off the top of my head, so I can't, Purple says, good night. Have a good week, everyone. Well, thank you for visiting, Purple. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a good night and a great weekend as well. Quick Gaming says, season 3 is my favorite out of the pre-movie era. All the episodes are good, but the Great Snail Race Krabby Land, and The Bully. I like The Great Snail Race. I don't like The Bully. I think I had touched on that one earlier. Hold on, let me line up season 3 just to remind myself. To My Pretty Seahorse, Nasty Patty, Idiot Box is great. Snowball Effect I really like. That one's got memed pretty hard too. No Weenies Allowed, okay. But yeah, this is definitely the point where I was kind of leaning away from the show, I guess. I mean, obviously, Krusty Krab training video was great. Wet Painters, I remember very well. So yeah, I mean, the memorable ones definitely stick out to me, but there are some of these titles I just don't even recognize. So maybe that is kind of fair to say, just for me, is that it kind of went season 1, season 2, season 3 a little bit, and then I can't speak to the other 80% of the entire show because I just didn't watch beyond that point, or like I would maybe catch an episode here and there, you know, basically at random. Anyway, that's what we got. Weeb says the new South Park season is amazing. We're 3 episodes in and it feels like classic South Park again to me. Real quick, we'll go about 30 minutes. Yeah, around there. Is it working okay on your end? Has there been an issue with accessing the stream? Because my stream capture software is kind of wigging out, but YouTube says I'm still live, so I'm kind of just hoping it's all okay. Sorry, okay. I have not watched yet. I think the first episode is about Kanye again. Is that right? Which I guess seems inevitable, in hindsight. What season was that of South Park with Captain Hindsight and the superhero groups that they form? That must have been at least after 12, 13-ish. Anyway, I'm very happy to hear that it's going well so far. I have not caught up on it. I got rid of HBO Max recently, so I don't have instant access to the new South Park, which is unfortunate. But that's great to hear. And yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there are a bunch of channels that talk about South Park. I never see anything though. I never see stuff popping up. I never see like a 5-hour video essay on South Park. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places or something. But I feel like every other big popular animated show has been talked about to death, you know, and for good reason. And we will continue to talk about those shows. But for some reason, South Park just seems to be in its own little box over there. And I don't hear people talking about the new stuff. I don't hear people going back and doing kind of retrospectives. So I don't know. Maybe that's just from my very limited viewpoint of stuff on YouTube, but I just don't see it. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Ugo says, I only saw a few episodes. I did not have cable. And then I just liked the show. But the Dan episodes by far are said that it was the best. Okay. Well, maybe I'll try to get a tab open that has like his specific writing credits for the show. Yeah. I'll just try to get up his IMDb there so I can take a look. Wow, these outfits, Dan. Okay. Going for it. Yep. Raider. 3 episodes. What? Can I just look at the episodes he wrote? Sorry, I should probably be. Weeb says the superhero episodes are in season 14. Okay, that sounds about right. Comparing to my memory there. Gotcha. It wasn't the funniest, like, arc, I don't think, that whole superhero thing in South Park, but I definitely remember Captain Hindsight, and it's an idea that comes to mind all the time. Okay, so yeah, Dan Povenmire wrote to Fry Cook Games. Classic, fantastic. And then also Sandy, SpongeBob, and the Worm. That's great. And what else here? Graveyard Shift. Okay, those are all great episodes. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out, Ugo. That makes perfect sense with his sort of sense of humor. Everything. Quick Amy says season 4 is okay. The good episodes are not very good, and the bad episodes weren't that bad. Rule of Dumb is my least favorite. Is that your least favorite just of season 4, or of literally everything? Actually, maybe that's a good question to ask. For you, Quick Amy, and anyone else who wants to chime in, do you have like a single least favorite episode of SpongeBob that you just think is trash? Like, there's nothing really about it that would make you want to sit through, another 11 minutes worth of that show. I probably have one of those. And sorry, I know this isn't like the most compelling visual to just have a list of episodes to scroll through, but it's helpful for me to try to keep a lot of the stuff in mind. But there's got to be at least one episode from the seasons that I know so well that I just really, really hate. So let me take a look. But yeah, if anybody else has one of those episodes, please let me know. Because that can be fun too. It's not just talking about the best stuff, but the stuff that didn't quite work for us, This coffee's too strong. It's my own darn fault. Okay. Yeah, so what would it be for me? It would not be Sandy, SpongeBob, and the Worm. I love that episode. That one's great. Ooh, Weeb's giving us some mystery here. Weeb says, SpongeBob Season 3, Episode 56B scared me as a kid. So now we can look it up and find out which one that is. Krusty Love. Oh, that's one of the ones that... No. Povenmire wrote Graveyard Shift, not Krusty Love. Is Krusty Love the one where Mr. Krabs is like, I want to spend money on Mrs. Puff, but I don't want to, so SpongeBob prevent me from spending money? I think that's that one. I wouldn't say that I'm a fan of that one. But why specifically did it scare you? Wait, I'm not doing the right one at all. Not 36. 56. I'm sorry, Weeb. Does season 3 have a 56? It's the one with the gorilla. Oh. Maybe it's from a different... I had an accident? Is that it? Okay. I don't know if I've seen that one. I don't remember... Do I remember a gorilla? I think I do. Clearly, I have not watched that one recently. But thanks for clarifying. It would have been funny, though, if Krusty Love is the one that scared you as a kid. Just the concept of, like, spending a bunch of money on a relationship. Oh, that's great. Quick says, Rule of Dumb is my least favorite season 4 episode. Okay, so not the least favorite overall. Gotcha. Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that. But yeah, you know your stuff, Quick. I mean, I think you have a really good sense of each particular season, And I do think it's important to kind of keep track of like the high and low points of particular seasons. That's a good way of kind of visualizing and comparing the different seasons for sure. Weave says, yes, I had an accident is the episode. Okay. I remember the title card. So when the title card came on, I cried. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Yeah, even those title cards, I mean, Adventure Time kept up with that tradition of like a really a high detail title card, right? Do any of the animated shows still do that? I don't know. Some of the shows won't even tell you the names of the episodes. They're just like, here it is. You can look it up later. Yeah. But yeah, I think I remember that one, but it's been a long, long time since I've actually seen it. Anyway, I guess I was trying to find one of my least favorite ones. Suds is up there. Or down there, rather. On the other end of the spectrum, Welcome to the Chum Bucket. How could I forget about that one? That is... Oh, it's fantastic. It's really fantastic. Hooky, we talked about. That definitely wasn't one of my favorites. The Paper, fun, but also stressful. Sleepy Time, I just watched Sleepy Time the other day, and it was great. Yeah, some definite low points early on. Even Nature Pants is kind of weird in hindsight. Home Sweet Pineapple is sad. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, season 2 is probably the one. Season 2, I'm not going to say it's the best season, but I think I would probably say that season 2 was one of the most crucial in terms of delivering highly memorable episodes. Stuff that re-aired, they replayed it so many times that they just got seared into our memories if we happen to be watching TV at the time. There's just so much there. So many classics there. It's not perfect, but in terms of memorable moments, certainly for me, it's a big one. Weeb says, you're going to hate me, but I think the Color Patty episode is overrated. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate it. It's just not amazing. Yeah, Patty Hype, I think, is the one. Don't worry, I totally agree with that one. It does give some fun visuals, that people can use for different stuff, especially online. But yeah, it's not, I don't know, it's not the most entertaining thing. And it's also one of those story types. I don't know if there's a name for this type of story or what. But it happens all the time in SpongeBob where someone finds out, oh, there's a valuable thing. I'm going to try to get it because it was mine originally. Oh, no, now it's not worth anything. And SpongeBob typically ends up on top of the situation, regardless of what he does. It happens when he gets Squidward tries to put on the stage play, the live performance in the Krusty Krab, but everybody prefers watching SpongeBob clean the floor. It happens with the Smitty, oh no, the number one hat, Smitty Werben Jaegerman Jensen, maybe? Used to have that memorized. Same thing there, and same thing with Patty Hype, even with, Mr. Krabs again. So it's not, I don't know, it's predictable in an obvious way. It's just supposed to be funny that the one character just has all the bad luck and the other character has all the good luck. But don't worry. Yeah, I don't think Patty Hype is anything special, really. I think it's fine. But yeah, just my feeling on it. Quick says, season 5 was starting to be bad. The worst episode, in my opinion, is Breath of Fresh Squidward, which I have definitely not seen. I like saying the name, I think. Breath of Fresh Squidward. Yeah, you kind of have to stay on your toes to pronounce it, but it's also fun. After zapping himself with his own... Oh no, there's a typo. The Google page. It says, after zapping himself with his own security fence. Here, you can look. With his own security fence. Squidward's personality gets scrambled and he becomes the nicest squid you could ever meet, which becomes annoying. Okay, it's a funny description. It also sounds annoying. Breath of Fresh Squidward. Can't even say it fast, can I? Breath of Fresh Squidward. Kind of. Okay. Weeb says, I forgot. Did SpongeBob have a bottle episode? An episode set in one or two locations with less characters than usual? Yeah, I learned that term from Community when they did their bottle episode. That's the only reason I know the term for that, trope or structure. Good question. Could we argue that the episode with the magic conch is a bottle episode? Because I know there is more than one location, but they're basically just trapped in this one spot in the jungle for most of the story, right? And it's an exotic locale for the show, but we're limited to that. Or Rock Bottom, I guess we could technically say it's sort of a town and not just a single room. But I think that's close to a bottle episode, if that makes sense. And of course, there are basically two characters in Rock Bottom, and then just other fish that we can't understand. Quick says, season 6 was absolute garbage. Oh my goodness. Okay. Were just stacked with episodes that you just thought were really bad, or did it just, I don't know, is it a sudden drop in quality? What's the what happened around season 6 for you? Weeb says, I'll say it counts as a bottle episode. Yeah, I think either of those kind of make the cut, but it's an interesting question. Or, I mean, in a sort of more literal sense, we could say that some of the episodes in Sandy's Tree Dome are bottle episodes, or like bowl episodes. But yeah, it's kind of funny that the concept of a bottle episode, which part of the appeal in terms of production is supposed to be that you spend less money on it, right? You don't have to build a bunch of different sets. You don't have to do a million different like camera setups and stuff. And you don't have to have a bunch of extras and things. That motivation, that benefit carries through into animation as well. It's not just a benefit for live action shows, because yeah, doing a bottle episode or something like it for an animated show just means you have to have fewer backgrounds drawn up and prepared, and you can just kind of focus on the character animation portions of it. At least that's my impression. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels like a thing that SpongeBob did quite a bit of, just like either trapping characters in a particular place, or just, you know, they happen to be spending the episode in a particular room or something like that. But yeah, I'm sure there are a bunch of other ones. Does SB129 count? Probably not. Probably not. The paper, even, that kind of works, I think. Wow, Valentine's Day 2000. My goodness. I wonder what I was up to on Valentine's Day of the year 2000. My gosh, probably watching SpongeBob, to be honest. Quick says, well, 70% of the episodes are Squidward torture. Oh my gosh. Just like mocking him and horrible things happen to him all the time. That's what that sounds like. Oh my goodness. And while we're on the topic, did any of you guys see the SpongeBob musical? Either live, if you saw it live, please tell me. Please tell me the story. Or if you saw the television broadcast. Sorry, the coffee messes up my throat. Because, yeah, they did a television broadcast. I don't know if it was live or not, but there was a recorded version of the live show that I think was up on Nickelodeon. And that's where I watched it. And I was surprisingly impressed with the premise and definitely the execution. The casting of SpongeBob and like trying to make a human person feel like SpongeBob did not work for me at all. But just kind of as its own musical, and, you know, with a bunch of musical performances, I thought it was actually pretty good. I don't know. I thought it was okay. Still kind of a weird idea to touch it all, but they did it. Weeb says the Family Guy episode with Brian and Stewie in a bank for the whole episode is a good bottle episode. That's a great example. And yeah, the episode of Community where I learned the term is when they basically lock themselves in their study room to find out who took one of Annie's pens, right? So we really just have that one location for the entire episode. I'm sure there was a bottle episode of The Office, right? I haven't watched The Office for so long. I don't know. Quick says, oh yeah, not to mention there's a TV movie that is 123 to 124, which I liked until realizing how bad it was. Or is it listed as 123, 124 here? It's a two-parter? Yes. It seems like. Truth or Square stuck in the freezer? Okay. I haven't seen any of that. If that is what you're referring to, please let me know. Apparently there was also a stop motion special at some point. I don't know if that's the same thing you're talking about, but it's one of the things I picked up the other day. One of my neighbors was getting rid of some like brand new DVDs, and they all happened to be like SpongeBob and old Nickelodeon stuff. But yeah, one of them was like, what, Flying Dutchman stop motion SpongeBob special. I forget what the name is. I had never even heard of that. I haven't watched it yet. I think it's an interesting idea. But and I will say real quick that I did really like, when I was growing up and watching the show, I did really like the specials, right? When they had it's not Krusty, is it? What's the name of the, oh no, what's the name of the pirate played by SpongeBob? Oh no. My memory's gone, I'm telling you. It's just a matter of time. Weave says, what is your opinion of the original UK The Office? The Ricky Gervais, the original series, which was what, 2 seasons and like a special? I like it pretty well. I watched it probably in college, so I'd been aware of the US version of The Office for a couple years and watched that and liked it a lot. So at some point, yes, I did try out the original UK version. And I did like it. I mean, it's definitely a very different feel. It's a very different tone. The way that it's executed is grimier in a way. Like, it feels much more realistic than what the US version of The Office became, which was just like a sort of insane comedy or sitcom situation where these really elaborate things were happening. But yeah, the UK version, it's very grounded. It feels very real most of the time. And I think a lot of the humor feels more, what's the word? I don't want to say mean-spirited, because I don't think that's quite accurate. But it felt, I don't know, it was more confrontational, I guess, because it felt more realistic. It felt less removed from something that could just happen to you in real life, I guess. So I liked it. I wasn't like crazy about the UK version, but I did like it a lot. Had some fun with it. And I probably have a copy saved somewhere. I don't quite remember. But yeah, the US version, even that, I used to watch the US version over and over again. And ever since they dropped it from Netflix, I just kind of, I'm not doing Peacock. Is that where it is? It's on Peacock now. Quick says, season 7 was not any better. There's way worse, and there's one episode that was very dark. Okay. What's the, I mean, I don't know if spoilers are a thing, but what's the premise of the really dark episode in season 7? And was it a good choice to make it that dark, or was it just like, this feels out of place? Assemblage, yeah, I definitely haven't seen any of these at all. Battle of Bikini Bottom, is that just also the name of one of the video games? Is that why that's coming to mind? Okay. Yeah, boy, wow. There's so much that I missed. I just missed so much. Oh my gosh. Also, rip to poor Steven Hillenburg, who passed away somewhat recently. Very sad. I don't know. He seems like he was just kind of a decent guy. I'm sure he made more money than anyone with this show, but gosh, it is very sad. Quick says, well, it's about one course meal. Okay. Is the food poisoned? Is there coral involved in the course meal? What's the scenario? Also. I might play a game for a little bit here for the last, I don't know how much longer the stream's going to go on, but might pop it on. I've been getting involved in this game recently. Weeb says, I'm surprised South Park never parodied The Office or did an episode on it. Yeah, certainly not to my knowledge. I can't think of any time where they sort of made any direct references to it. I know Family Guy did. At some point, Family Guy was making a few jokes about, like, kind of the Office tropes, the kinds of the kind of humor that they orbited around. Is this louder? It's just louder in my headphones. Okay, it's fine. South Park is parodied so much, but I feel like they tend to focus on stuff that is they focus on real world events. They focus on, celebrity stuff a lot of the time. They have specifically focused, of course, on political content quite a bit, especially through 2016 onward. It was a big part of the show. But yeah, in terms of talking about other pieces of entertainment, I mean, I guess they had the Cartoon Wars, which had a lot of mocking of Family Guy. But yeah, Weeb says, I know it's only 9 years old, but I've been having Crossy Road nostalgia lately. Has it been 9 years? This is starting to happen though. The mobile games where they're classics now, or they're not available. I heard that the original Angry Birds is getting pulled from app stores because it doesn't fit their model anymore. It's just a single purchase, and then you have the game, and there are no microtransactions or stuff. Kind of funny, but yeah, Steppy Road was a big one. What were the other ones? Not Flappy Bird. That one got taken down. Tiny Wings. I used to play Tiny Wings a lot, and I think I own it still on the App Store, but I'd have to check. Quick says, yes, so, okay, this is episode from season 7. That's kind of darker. Quick says, it's about when another failed attempt of stealing the Krabby Patty. Plankton has a fear of whales, and Mr. Krabs uses it and goes tar, causing Plankton to want to die. Oh. Wow. It's a little bit dark, isn't it? That's just a smidge dark. I understand what you were saying there. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Now don't worry, I'm still chatting and stuff, but I want to play just a little bit of Pizza Tower because that's what I've been playing lately. And as someone who likes animation, it's actually kind of impressive. Here, let me make these things a little bit smaller. Oh, look. There's the logo right there. It's too loud? Nah, it's just loud in my headphones. Anyway, that episode sounds very dark. I might seek it out just so I can say that I've watched it. But yeah, I don't know. That almost sounds like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it fits the general SpongeBob vibe. And maybe that's your feeling on it as well. But yeah, that's kind of crazy. I mean, I guess it makes sense that Plankton's afraid of whales. That's kind of funny, but still. But Plankton's also a fun, lovable guy who we've known for, more than 20 years now. So this is Pizza Tower, recently released 1.0 on Steam. It's been blowing up on the internet, and my controller's not working. This happens sometimes, and it's a lot of fun. I'll just keep plugging it back in until it works. Nope. Just on the stream. It only happens on the stream. I was playing it earlier, no problem. Do you still have a copy of Steppy Road, Weeb? You still have one? It's not going well here with the controller. Oh, there we go. Crossy Road I played a little bit. Yeah, Tiny Wings was a big one. I never played Angry Birds like the original one at all. There were definitely a lot of Flash games, although many of those didn't migrate to mobile at all. They just stayed on the internet for as long as they could last. Quick says season 8 is better than the other two infamous seasons. This one was still bad, but it was not very bad. That's preferable for sure. That reminds me of the line from Death of a Salesman, where he's saying what they're talking about the main guy, and they're saying, well, he's liked, but he's not well liked. It's a subtle difference, but an important one. Ooh says, what are you playing? I'm playing a game called Pizza Tower. It's a platformer inspired by the Wario Land games. This is just a tutorial level. I probably could have skipped it. The game's actually getting pretty tough. Anyway, it's based on those games, those platforming games. But yeah, a lot of people have been kind of infatuated by the visuals. And there's a bunch of fan art now of our main character whose name is Peppino. Weeb says it's always been free, so I re-downloaded it recently. Steppy Road, yeah. There were always ads, but I noticed there are more. Don't mind it. Well, that's good. I'm very ad sensitive these days. I notice all of them. Why did I do that? There we go. Phew. There we go. No. There we go. Nice. There we have it. That's the stuff. But Steppy Road is still available, right? So it still exists. It's fine. Hold dash dive. Yeah. Okay. I did kind of need a reminder though, because earlier I was playing and I completely forgot some of the controls. There we go. Oh, I don't know if I can get that one though. Let's see. There it is. Nope. Yeah, I haven't looked up who actually developed this game. But my gosh, I hated the art at first, and I was complaining to a friend about the art and how I didn't like it at all. But then I came around, I tried it out, and I was like, you know what? This is actually pretty good. So I have to be running, and then I do that. Okay. Nope. I hold up, not down. Oh, come on now. That's what I forgot earlier today, too. It was not going well. Can I get him lined up? There we go. Yeah, perfect, perfect. Ugo says, has anyone heard about the last season of Summer Camp Island, as in the upcoming season of the show? I have not. If there has been news that they're going to do more of it, what is the instruction? Oh. Come here, pizza man. Oh, I thought that would do something. There it is. Come back, pizza man. Beautiful. I have not. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Ugo. I have not. But if you have some information on that, please let me know, because I've been very curious about how that's going to turn out. Weeb says, when I first saw this game, I thought it was an underrated 90s DOS computer game that just got noticed after years, but no, it came out this year, I think. Yeah, just came out recently, but it's definitely in that style of, like, I don't know if we would say CGA graphics exactly, but something close to it. And this is one of the gimmicks, is that at the end of each level, you have to escape the level. And that's the part I'm not good at. Anyway, Weave says, is camp canceled or on hiatus? Yeah, so I think the last we heard sort of officially was, it being removed from HBO Max. You just couldn't even access it anymore at all, which kind of stunk. And I think as part of that, it was just like, okay, and there's no production. There's no active production on the show. Ugo says they have the last season made, but due to the HBO and Time Warner merger, they have not really. Oh, so it's sitting somewhere. Like it's on someone's hard drive. You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like this is the perfect opportunity for a leak. That is probably what should happen. Alan, good player? I'll go with that. I'll just say Alan. SCI will air this year in Cartoon Network US. They said, oh, okay. This is good. I'm getting some... I didn't know any of this stuff. What is this? Oh. We'll check back on that later. Good. Okay, but it was... I guess it was already planned to be the last season. Is that the case? I would be fine with that. It did feel like it was kind of wrapping up. Just in terms of the lore, the storyline and all that. Can I jump through this? I cannot. How about like this? Nope. Alan says, but we don't know yet which month that it's going to premiere. Okay. Hugo says it was to come out in December, but they pushed it to summer. Then the whole show is removed. Okay, so they had some kind of plan, and then it didn't work out because of that whole merger deal. Oh, Weeb says not Summer Camp Island, Camp. It's a Rooster Teeth adult interaction show. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I don't know anything about that one. I haven't seen that. Oh, is that not... No, I want to do the jumpy thing. There we go. Cool, thank you. There we go. Oh, sausage. But yeah, so I can't comment on the camp stuff. But I really did think it was just... I thought that was a creative and affectionate way to refer to Summer Camp Island. Just calling it Camp. There we go. You guys get out of there. So, Weeb, are you a fan of the old DOS games? Have you played some of the older stuff? When I was a very young person, I was playing lots of DOS games. We had like a shareware disc of a bunch of different stuff. Ooh, secret. Sort of secret. Oh, I messed that up. I should have just run. There we go. Beautiful. I got that wrong. Animation not interaction. Autocorrect did that for some reason. Okay. I guess I assumed it would be animated because it was Rooster Teeth, but I just thought you meant like an interactive show, like or movie, like what, Cat Burglar, or what is it, Bandersnatch, right? It was an interactive movie. I just figured it was something like that. Alan says, without needing to log in or anything. For which? The combat's actually really good here. It feels really good. But yeah, thank you both to Alan and Ugo for sharing the info there. Because I haven't been following, honestly, just the whole situation surrounding the loss of Summer Camp Island and all those other shows. What, Infinity Train was one too. It just made me so sad that I just assumed it would be dead in the water and that they would not try to resurrect it, you know, unless maybe like years from now. So I have not been checking up on the news there. But yeah, so it's out there. It does exist. I'm very happy to hear that. And I would not be surprised to just see it like show up all of a sudden. Sort of a shadow drop of just being like, up, here you go. I keep getting that wrong with the dash. There we go. There we go. Oh. Season 1 of Summer Camp Island for free. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Ugo says Camp is a show they have. I've seen a few episodes. but it's aimed to an older audience, I guess. Kind of like South Park. I think they have 5 seasons so far. Well, that's quite a bit. Weeb says, I looked it up. Fandom Wiki said Camp Camp is not canceled, as Rooster Teeth Productions does not outright cancel its original shows. However, the series will no longer be solely produced by them. Okay. So are they sort of opening it up to other production companies or something? Season 1 is for free on a particular streaming service. To be honest, I got a copy. I got a bootleg copy of the DVDs, so that's how I watch it now. But I really do hope it returns to streaming sometime in the near future. Oh, sorry. Weeb has an elaboration of the last comment saying, meaning they're shopping the series out to potential production partners to help finance the show. It's currently unconfirmed if they found one yet. Okay, so almost like a franchise situation where they're just like, we got it. We got the goods. But we don't necessarily have the money to make it again, just continue making it. And yeah, if they have indeed made 5 seasons of the show, that's no small cost in terms of production. So that's understandable. And an interesting idea that they would potentially open it up to other creative influence, right? Other creative leadership. Like if they ended up being somewhat hands-off, I think that would be kind of neat. Thank you for pointing me in this direction. Yeah, and the music too. This gets so nope. See, that's not what we want to do. Okay. Nope. No, get out of here. Go. Wow, these rock guys are tough. This is not good. There we go. Oh. No, I don't think I want that. Okay. No, oh, come on, man. So mean. That's stressful. Yeah, and in general, I'm not a big fan of timed challenges in games, so it's not really my cup of tea, this portion. But it is clever. It is high stakes. Nope, this way, Pepino. Oh, we're right here. Woof. Anyway. Oh, they have 4 seasons of the show, and they're waiting for season 5. Camp. This all comes from the wiki and the co-creators' Tumblr. Well, that should be a pretty reliable source of information, right? Ugo says, RT Rooster Teeth has been having lots of money issues for the last few years. Kerlock wasn't very good, which was only made due to the director. And they have a sex offender issue. Oh, no. The only thing is the RBWY show, or whatever that is. I know which show you're talking about. Now, which is at 9 seasons. Oh my gosh. And I think Red and Blue is still going. I think you're right about Red and Blue. I never really got into it, but I think I've seen new stuff from that, or just posts of new episodes and things. Get out of here. Okay. Anyway, so I don't know. I'll play this for just a smidge longer, and then I'll probably get going. But it's been a very fun stream. I'm glad we got to talk about so much of SpongeBob. And I'm glad that we got some I thought I had the timing. I'm sorry. I'm glad that we had some folks here who really know what they're talking about when it comes to the show. I guess that's to be expected with, our viewership. We tend to get lots of people really passionate about different shows and stuff. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And I mean, if anyone is watching the stream after the fact and wondering where everything kind of landed, for me personally, at least, I do think season 2 is sort of the most impactful season of SpongeBob, for me, certainly, and potentially also for a lot of the fan base, old and new. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it anyway. Everyone's welcome to have their, you know, a favorite season, what they feel is the most impactful season, and all that biz. And yeah, and this is what I've been doing in my spare time. It's playing Pizza Tower and marveling a little bit at the animation work. I do think it's really great. And I didn't at first at all. Hugo says it was Gearlock. You can still find it on HBO. Okay, gotcha. Turn this way, get the mouse, or whatever that is. Get you. I want this mushroom thing. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, before I wrap up, if anyone has been watching anything that they'd like to chat about real quick, or there's something fun going on that they feel like sharing with the group, go for it. Now's the time. I always enjoy just chatting about different stuff. And if anybody's wondering about next videos and all that kind of thing, I do want to do a few more of just, you know, making videos on my favorite episodes of XYZ. That was kind of slick. So yeah, there are tons of other shows I could do that with. I don't want to do SpongeBob just yet, but I will at some point. And yeah, so we'll do some of those, see how those perform, I guess. I think the Adventure Time one is actually doing okay. So that's nice. Oh, I see. I have to jump over the monk man who takes my knighthood away. There we go. Okay. Now I can go there. Thank you very much. Weeps, his last question before we go. Do you think in terms of how impactful and influential they are, South Park, Family Guy, or American Dad better in that sense? Okay, so you're asking in terms of, like, just judging based on impact and influence. Which of these is sort of the top of the pile between South Park, Family Guy, and American Dad? Well, I mean, I can share my, like, very biased and personal opinion on that, I guess, because, like, personally, I never really got into American Dad much at all, and I've been a little bit surprised to find out that it actually is quite influential, especially online. Like, there are plenty of people who just love that show. They love that cast of characters that I just never really connected with. So it would be hard for me to, like, objectively judge the influence of all these different shows. But I would probably have to say that of those three, my guess would be that both South Park and Family Guy are kind of on equal levels of influence, or at least they both were kind of at their heyday, and that now maybe Family Guy has retained more influence. I don't know. Do you get that sense as well, or am I just like making stuff up at this point? Sorry, I want to help this guy in the cage. There we go. I don't know. Just in terms of, like, the number of people who still watch Family Guy and make, like, video compilations for YouTube, you know, little clip compilations and stuff like that. I don't know. It's kind of a thing. It's still very, very popular. I may not be crazy about it, but it's hard for me to deny just how many other people are. I would probably prefer to say South Park, just for my own personal opinion. I think it's probably the best of the three shows, and I do think it continues to be influential, but it just probably isn't pulling in the numbers it was, you know, the first 10 seasons or so. So yeah, that's just my sort of, you know, off the cuff feelings about it, I guess. But yeah, if you have thoughts on that, feel free to let me know for sure. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. There we go. I messed that up the last time I did this. Sorry, let me pause because I think I missed a couple. I missed Hugo's comment, and he says, on top of that, they have lots of good Good made games are well made games, and they're not just high-end games. For Gearlock or for RBWI or RWBY or whatever it is. Those have some good... I know that has some kind of games. I haven't played any of them, but... Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, I'm supposed to go this way. Ah, no. Go here. Is this correct? Oh. Excuse me. I do like that you don't really have to worry about combat during the escape, you know? Is this the door you meant, sir? Oh. This, nope, not that way. Don't think I want to be the knight right now. Get out of here. These guys look like the 7-Up logo to me. There we go. Probably not the way I'm supposed to do it, but we got through it just fine. We do this. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I can do a video game sometime. Even that sentence was bad. Oof. Okay. Sorry. That'll probably be the end of that game for me today. Ugo says the people that made South Park signed like a $120 million deal to make 4 movies? Really? I was talking about South Park, but you missed a sentence. Oh, the games. Yeah. Fractured But Whole and Stick of Truth. I played both of them, actually, not to completion, but yeah, those are really solid games. They also made some bad South Park games for sure. But yeah, I agree with you. Those are really, really good. And Weeb says, remember when Family Guy, Cleveland Show, and American Dad had a crossover where it was just that all 3 episodes had a hurricane? That was it, besides a gag at the end of the American Dad one. So, crossover episode. Yeah, I gotcha. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Wasn't it 14 movies, not 4? Oh my goodness, really? I mean, either number is absurd, but still. Weeb says on August 5th, 2021, it was announced that 14 new original movies based on the series were greenlit at Paramount Plus, with 2 new movies being released yearly starting in 2021. What on earth? That's insane. That's Crazy Town Banana Pants right there. I don't know. My goodness. And with that said, I guess it's time to wrap it up. I'll do my usual sign-off stuff. Thank you so much to everybody who comes out live. That's the only reason I still do the streams, is to talk to people live, have a nice chat about things. And thank you to anybody watching the uploaded version after the fact. I appreciate that as well. It's a big help to the channel. And yeah, more videos to come very soon. I hope everybody's more or less okay with sort of the new video format that I've been doing lately and the editing and stuff. Kind of a different turn for the channel, but I feel like it's pretty solid. So we're going to keep up with that. But yeah, plenty more videos to come. And just comes down to how much time I have to work on them. Because yeah, I'm also basically looking for a new job at this point. Don't want to get into too much, but that is going on. So that's kind of a big priority, you know, and I make the videos as soon as I can. But yeah, anyway, this has been fun. I'm glad I got to do the stream today. And at least for the moment, it looks like I will try to continue doing streams 6 p.m. Pacific on Thursdays. Unless we come up with a time that works better for a bunch of people, then we can switch. But that's what I'm going with at the moment. But yeah, I think that's about it. I hope we didn't get any copyright claims. Thanks again to everyone coming out for the stream, and I hope everyone has a lovely weekend. Please take it easy this weekend. I don't think any of us need to go crazy trying to get work done or anything like that. So yeah, take it easy. Have a nice time. And I'll be seeing you soon. Okay, thanks for stopping by.